Okay everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is a stock market trading ideas channel. We use technical analysis to find trade ideas. So I'm going to get right into it. Guys, drop me a thumbs up. I'm only getting about 250 or so per view or per video, and I have well more, at least 2,000 or more watching the videos. So please drop me a thumbs up. I do appreciate it. I really like to, see this channel grow. All right, and guys, if you're new, check out my stock market technical analysis course. You know what it's all about. It's in the link below, so check that out. Okay, now I want to talk about what happened today. So we basically hit support on some key stocks, okay? And I'm going to point those out. I think we're probably due for a bounce, only because, when you hit support, especially after plunging how we've basically plunged. There's a good amount of fear in the market. I think we're probably due for a bear market rally. Now, do I think that this is the bottom? No, I don't think this is the bottom. In fact, I don't see any VIX spike. I'm not seeing a spike in the VIX, so tells me we're likely not at the very end. But again, it would make sense that we saw a rally here. Looking at the daily chart on Amazon, this is a big player in the tech sector. This was former resistance, and kind of choppy through here, but it should be support. When you look at the weekly, it's a lot more clear. All right, on the weekly, you've got basically lots of tags of, a couple tags right there, a tag there, and you kind of chopped around right there, but several reactions. And today, as I zoom in, you can see we did get a reaction off that initial tag. So basically, we hit that level and we bounced, okay? So I think there's probably some more to look at, more bounce, maybe get some sort of impulsive bounce up lasting a couple days. And then we'll probably look to reshort and, get back short on our indices. But yeah, looking for a bounce there. Looking at Apple. So Apple also sold off pretty good. Now Apple, as I zoom out, you can see we basically have some it's right here. I've got a level of resistance here at 138, and then it was support, so it's resistance here. All right, it did prove to be resistance here too, because if you look closely, and again, this all goes to candlestick analysis. I teach this stuff in my course, but if you look at the weekly chart here, you'll see this week right here closed right on the resistance. This week traded kind of an intra-week trade, but was rejected and closed below. So it was just an intra-week pop, but false breakout, and we closed below. So it proves that that's a reaction point. As I zoom in, got close here, didn't quite get it, and then it was support right here. So that on the weekly chart, that's pretty decent support in Apple. And as I zoom into kind of the price action today, we basically bounced off of that and recovered, pretty much closing off that bounce right there. So the level to watch, let me get rid of this one. The level to watch is really right there, 138.50. All right, that's our next sell signal in Apple. So we don't want to, I don't want to be short, anything really involved with Apple unless I bounce into resistance, all right, which right now I see as this downtrend line right here. Okay, so whether that happens, I don't think that'll happen this week, but it could happen over the next few weeks. We bounce into resistance or we break support right here, all right? So I don't want to get short till we break support, or if we bounce into resistance, I can short right up there. Those are the objective areas. Anywhere in between, I'm not really interested. And that goes into the Qs. Okay, looking at the Qs. Actually, let me go look at Google. I haven't checked that one out either. Google on the weekly, I don't see much support where Google's at. So it might chop around a little bit. Facebook, Facebook's below support. Yeah, I don't see much on Facebook either. And Microsoft is maybe a little bit of support, but we've got decent support just slightly below. So we could just drift sideways for a little while and then break down. That is possible as well. So I'll be watching different things. Looking at Qs, you can see here Qs, I want to get, basically we're underneath this price channel, and my price channel might not be perfect, the lower end of it. I think it's pretty decent, but you've got this this is your bull market in Qs. I don't think we're going to slice right down through the bull market trend line on the initial tag of this trend line down here. Okay, you can see, this is the trend line we held support all through here. And this week they're making it look like it's going to break. I suspect by Friday they rally this thing up and it closes basically right here, right above there, right above that 298 area. So watch for that. If you get a weekly close above 298, that to me signals that we're probably at a near-term bottom. I might actually look at going long on Qs for, maybe a rally up to, 317.50 or, potentially even higher. Might just let the, trail your stops. Okay, so if the week closes at 298, or above, then it tells me that we're going to get at least a multi-week rally, all right, or at least rally up to this area of 316. Yeah, so that's what I'm watching. The other thing to look at on the daily chart is you still have the bullish divergence. See it right there on the RSI. Now on the PPO, it's starting to take it out, but on the RSI, it is still there. So keep in mind, we've still got some divergences. They haven't been completely burned through. This is a divergent low. Doesn't mean it has to be the low, but it is a divergent low. And with the divergence and with some of these big stocks hitting key support, the probability, at least in the near term, has shifted for a rally, all right? Has shifted for a bear market rally. All right, looking at Netflix. This is one that I went long on this morning. I talked about that. Netflix, nothing on the daily really, but if you look at the hourly, you can see we basically have this bullish falling wedge pattern. It created two bullish falling wedges. It did it one here, broke out, just drifted sideways, didn't really go up. Did another bullish falling wedge, and we have broken out right here on the hourly, just barely. If you look at the smaller time frames, like a 15-minute chart, it looks a little bit better. But we have broken out, and this breakout comes with bullish divergence. See the hour? Look at that bullish divergence. See how it's just momentum has been building higher in this one in Netflix as prices continue to drift lower. So I think we're going to get a bear market rally in this, and it could be pretty powerful. This thing has sold off from the highs all the way, from the highs to where it's at now, 75%. All right, that's pretty overdone for a big stock like this to just go down even more from 75%. I mean, we're talking, this is like .com bust ranges, to fall 75%. So I think we could have a pretty impulsive rally, potentially all the way up. I mean, there's a lot of targets on this one, but as I zoom in, you've got a couple gaps. So I think that would be maybe a final target, or at least a move into the gap, all right? And that would be a move up to about 328 is the gap fill. From where we're at now, that's about a potential 85% rally from there. Pretty impulsive. Another level to watch would be the gap entry, which would be right about here, 246. All right. Either one of those, I think, would be a viable target. Maybe it would make sense to take profit and hold out to see if you can get the gap fill. It's a very obvious gap, so I suspect you don't get it, but you could get close. Okay. And it doesn't mean the rally has to start right now, but I'm just looking, if I narrow it down to the 15-minute chart, we've got this bullish falling wedge pattern, and we close the day with a breakout. So as long as you can build on this and we don't just gap down tomorrow, then, we could potentially run up and fill those gaps or get close to our target there. So I'm long this. We'll just play it day by day. If they gap it down tomorrow, then maybe it's going to do that. But again, those bullish divergences are telling me that we're likely going to... I think we're going to gap up, to be honest. I think, again, a lot of shorts are in here still. The way to trap the shorts is to gap up. So that's how bear market rallies work. Typically, you have a gap up, and it traps the shorts, and they all scramble, and it's a short squeeze. And that's how bear market rallies become so impulsive, because all the dip buyers pile in, and all the shorts that are really heavy right now, they all scramble to exit all at once. And bear market rallies can be very powerful. So that's what I'm looking for. Doesn't mean we have to get it, but I'm definitely on lookout for it. SPY, SPY kind of closing. I don't see much in SPY. We could go lower in SPY. So, it's really going to depend on whether the Qs can hold up and whether the Amazon holds up. If that happens, then we'll likely see the SPY hold up. Okay, gold. So gold is right at the buy zone. We should be holding in this area. We might go a little lower. We might not. But, you know, when I'm looking at gold, this is gold bullion. It's not coming off the all-time highs. I'm really coming off of this level because I got a lot of data points I can make. But you're holding resistance all through here. Okay. We had a breakout of that pattern. And then we're coming in for a full back test. And there we are right there. Perfect, beautiful back test of that trend line. So this is objective to buy at. Doesn't mean it's going to be right, but this is definitely an objective area to buy at. Maybe overnight you get a brief breakdown and then a recovery, something like that. You always want to look for some sort of a stop rate move because when you're so close to a level, usually they run down and just run some stops. A lot of stops are right below here. You know, you've got people that took the breakout. There's lots of stops that are probably just below here. So they might run down, take out the stops, reverse, and then hold. So that's all I'm really looking for on that one. Okay, here's one to look at, DBA. And it's really not a trade right now, but this is a commodities index. So it's got a basket of commodities. And the reality is that if the Fed really wants to break the back of inflation and they are going to be successful at it, the first thing they need to do is break this bull trend in commodities. So this is DBA. Again, we've started a bull market in commodities. Commodities have been in a bear market since going all the way back to 2011. And really, I mean, if you really look at it, 2008. Yeah, about 2008, they've really been in kind of a consistent bear market. They haven't made new highs. This one hasn't, at least, since then. And you can see we have a clear breakout of that downtrend. That was a multi-year bear market, and we have a breakout. So what I would look for if we're going to get a pullback or a correction is first you need to break this trend line here, and then you probably get a tag. You know, you're going to have some sort of a correction. And we'll look at buy levels because I suspect whatever comes out of this will be a buying opportunity on the dip. All right, so we'll look for areas to buy this, you know, and buy these commodities if you get the break. Again, until the Fed breaks this commodity trade, inflation's going to continue to run. So one way to look at it is while inflation continues to run, it's very unlikely that the Fed is going to be able to back off their hawkishness. So unless, you know, if you start to see this break, that might give you a clue that, okay, now that this is broken, the Fed will probably start easing off their hawkishness. But until you see that, we're likely going to continue to see hot inflation readings. Okay, let's look at the semiconductors. And I'm looking at the weekly chart here. You can see SOXX. So again, the bearish rising wedge that was in play on this weekly chart, we broke to the upside, then we broke down, and we've now broken clearly down. But if you take the measured target, kind of the widest part of the wedge, you move it to basically the breakdown point, which was right there. Our measured target is right about 388.24, and that's pretty much where we're at right now. So we've had a measured move on the breakdown. Also with the semiconductors, you are hitting what looks to be weekly support. Okay, you got a couple tags there, another one there, resistance from right there. Okay, it was resistance. So, and this is exactly where we're at right now. So we're at support on the weekly chart on the semiconductor. So again, this is just another indication that I think maybe we're probably at some near-term support and we might want to look at a potential bear market rally. Okay, so that is kind of where I'm at least at this point. Is I'm looking for, you know, I like Netflix for that potential gap fill or at least a gap entry. And there will be obviously a lot of trades to the long side. I mean, you just find the biggest one, the ones that are hurt the worst, and you probably look at look at those to rally pretty impulsively. So you leave a comment below on anything you want me to look at. I'm open to more downside because obviously it's very possible, but I also see a lot of things hitting support where it does seem like we could hold here and stage a rally for the next couple days, weeks, maybe even a couple months. So that is what I have. At the end of the day, I think we go lower, but that doesn't mean that we've got an opportunity to catch a bear market rally. So that's all I've got so far for this afternoon, guys. It's obviously been, it takes a lot out of you to trade this market because it's a very volatile market. So you have to be very focused. If you're not sure of what to do, taper back your position size, stay out of the market, or, trail stops. Use the tools that you have to keep you, to help mitigate your risk. And then also, if you just want to learn how to read charts, analyze trade ideas, check out my course. That's what I teach in my course. I'll teach you how I spot trades. And that's half the battle there, is finding the trades and really knowing how to execute on the trade. So I can help with that. Take the course, link in the description below, and I will catch you guys tomorrow.